Memories. Memories.
Feel my heart, it's beating. Oh, my body's breathing. It's just you and me. Feel my heart, it's beating. Oh, my body's breathing. It's just you and me. I'm so caught in this, we're so lost deep in it, can't stop. I'm forever the one you call. Let's free fall. I'm so caught in this, we're so lost deep in it, can't stop. I'm forever the one you call. Let's free fall. 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 I'm so caught in this, we're so lost deep in it, can't stop. I'm forever the one you call. Let's free fall. Feel my heart, it's beating. Oh, my body's breathing. It's just you and me. Feel my heart, it's beating. Oh, my body's breathing. It's just you and me. I'm so caught in this, we're so lost deep in it, can't stop. I'm forever the one you call. Let's free fall. I'm so caught in this, we're so lost deep in it, can't stop. I'm forever the one you call. Let's free fall. 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 I'm so caught in this, we're so lost deep in it, can't stop. I'm forever the one you call. Let's free fall.
Or inside here, you get an insight and you know something, but you don't want to say it out loud because you're kind of afraid that it's not going to be really true and it'll spoil the whole thing for you, But when somebody makes you say it, then, and it's true, then it just makes it more beautiful of a thing.
I'm not crazy, Malin. I'm not crazy, Malin. I've just been in a very bad mood for 40 years. 40 years.
Carpe diem. Carpe diem.
I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall.
Sitting in a 4v3. Everfrog Esports trying to find what angle they can, trying to find somebody out of position. We're gonna go through on this. Oh, what a roll. White gonna go in.
It's going to be a really, really interesting one.
Oh my god. All of this competition could be so damn close, so I cannot wait for us to finally decide who's going to be the champion. We are expecting some chaos, some great moments. Beast Mode has killed 3! Only gonna really need that rampage, so it's gonna clear it out. Santi gonna give themselves a big old 4K. Oh. Santi's getting rid of 3, clearing out the house. That is crazy.
Nunji actually kills 3 people.
This team feels entirely different on this faster composition. Now Saga4 is hanging around, getting onto the high ground. Post bomb's gonna stick under Linky. You're not gonna be able to survive it at the end of the day. Boom! That is to find a 3K!
Rio shoving this Lana into a corner. Woo! One more for the road for Rio. That is all signs go. Melophobia with 3 Melophobia. Start the fight. They'll end the fight. Oh my god. Beagle Bus, they have to play aggressively into this NRG, popping off in a moment where you needed just that. Ruby in that backline. Oh, the flick. Looking for it. Oh my goodness. The fourth one as well. Do they get the ace? They get the ace.
And welcome back, everybody, to another playoffs match. We have the GM tier coming at you, NA, of course. And, of course, we're going to be covering none other than RRG, the Varsity team, of course, and Unknown Origin. You have myself and Megalas covering tonight's match for you guys. And a lot more also happening just after the fact and also happening right now. So, listen, there's a lot going on right now. You can see the schedule. We can go over to that right now. We do see, as we are speaking live on CGL Live 1, we do have big DTR Fang 600, 2-0 so far against the University of Toronto. So that's one more match going on over there. Just started about an hour ago. Still got some time to tune in and watch what's going on there. But like I said, Megalas and I will be covering RRG Varsity versus Unknown Origin.
Yeah, it's a very interesting matchup here in NAGM. You know, this is technically both the matches for this bracket happening right now, so that is exciting. But RRG Varsity, definitely the team that a lot of people have their eyes on right now. You know, you think back last CGL season, they were playing in Open. It really didn't go all that well for them, but they've dialed it back, set themselves in the GM tier, and they've actually been able to play upset to, you know, big T-Tar fan who's been sort of dominating this tier for a few seasons now, gave them a loss in the mid-season, so they rightfully earned that number 1 seed here tonight, gave them that choice of picking Unknown Origin in our pick opponent stream, in case you missed that, but should be a good one here. Unknown Origin now has to sort of play up against, you know, somebody that maybe wasn't considered the big dog, but now is.
Absolutely, and our Varsity gonna be the ones to likely do it because, I mean, you remember last season we did see their junior Varsity team go up against them and actually falling to their juniors last season. So coming in, being the ones on top right now must feel really nice. And we're starting things off, of course, with ideally whichever map they're going to go to first and foremost. RRG can be having that lovely they do have the advantage of being first seed. They get to pick the map and they get to have the first ban. And they do go over to Lijiang Tower first and foremost. That's going to be our first map. And anywhere else to start would be, honestly, not the best. We love Lijiang Tower on these parts. And if not one of the most scrim control maps to really work with. So it gives both these teams a really good even playing field to start things off in this first to 3 series.
Yeah, Lijiang, it's the bread and butter. Everybody knows it. Everybody loves it. It's that comfort pick. You know what's going to be going on. Even if you ban one thing, another thing will crop up. These teams, they know it. They love it. You're going to see, you know, unless somebody has a very niche hero pick that they want to bring out, you're going to see standard stuff. You're going to have your Brawl Rush comps going on the control center. You could see more of like the dive looks or more of just the outright brawl when you're heading over to Garden. And then Night Market, always a fan of the shenanigans that can happen there. You got Symmetra. Farah like to throw their hands into the mix there. But like you said, it's just an interesting sort of starting map here. It's going to really put both teams on an equal footing to sort of figure out how this series is going to go. Again, RRG, they are coming in as the favorite here, so they do get that first ban up as well. But Unknown Origin, again, they're not afraid to play spoiler here. So depending on what these hero bans end up being, we could see a very interesting story play out tonight.
Yeah, and a lot of the more consistent bands we've been seeing, especially as we do have we had the Champions Clash happening in Hangzhou at the same time. You're kind of seeing a lot of the consistencies happening on Lijiang Tower. That being Farah, Sim, for example, have been pretty consistent bands as of lately, at least on Lijiang Tower, all throughout all three of those sub maps. And just like that, Farah will continue to be reigning queen here to be banned, and for good reason. Megalas, like, she's so strong on arguably two of the three, maybe even the third one on Control Center. You can absolutely spam down those chokes if you're able to. So I completely agree with the ban here.
I couldn't agree more as well. Again, it sort of forces things to be more orthodox. RRG, they probably know going into this that they have a head and shoulders advantage over most of these teams, that if they keep it orthodox, they don't allow these silly outlier characters to sort of come in and be annoying, then it really can level the playing field and keep it firmly in their advantage. Like you said, Farah is just an amazing character right now. My goodness, my throat is giving out on me when I'm trying to talk about how great Farah is. But yeah, you used to think of her as like needing a mercy pocket, but now she can completely operate the skies of her own two wings, and she does amazing work there. So the ban makes complete sense. It also potentially saves that Symmetra, like you were talking about, because now Unknown Origin, they can't ban another DPS character, so they're gonna have to look elsewhere if they want to try to target.
Absolutely, kind of look over to the tank role or the support role, and arguably you might be looking more at not the Rhine ban! Oh my goodness! What did my man do to you? I was gonna mention more like maybe a Orisa angle, maybe a ball angle, anything like that. Or even Ramatra as also making a reappearance. But for Reinhardt to be the ban of the day, Unknown Origin, I'm wondering what they're, like, if they know something that we don't about RRG, where maybe they want to play that Rhine Brawl. Maybe they want to play the Rhine Brawl with maybe a Sim or a Mei, but without the Rhine, it kind of hinders the Brawl just a tiny bit, at least that rush kind of play style you typically would see with the Reinhardt. So, albeit kind of a little bit of an unorthodox Brawl hero to pick, good one nonetheless in the terms of in playing a Lijiang, playing a Brawl. Yeah, how about we just chop off the legs of Reinhardt real fast?
I mean, to be fair, you say it as like a hindering if they want to go with like Symmetra Mei compositions. I see this as a buff because instead of, potentially wasting time on the funny Reinhardt hero, you get to just insta-lock Ram now, which is just arguably better in every single metric. So if I'm RRG, as long as I'm, practice on the Ram, then this should still be okay territory. But speaking of RRG, let's throw them up on the screen here. You gotta look at who the players are, who's gonna be doing the what here. Going to be perfectly honest, I did not open team sheets, so I have no clue what that Junkrat's name is, but we got Nonag.
I got you. It's Mac.
It's Mac. There we go. Mac and Nonag on that DPS line, Piercing on tank, and then Nene and Guitar Bob supports. And who knows, Piercing is showing the Reinhardt here. Maybe RRG has been piloting a lot of the Rhine just for fun here, but now it's no longer an option to them.
Absolutely, and Piercing, you said it gives you a little bit of a boon because you get to at least play the Ramatra instead, which is arguably just a little bit of a better Reinhardt, I cannot lie. A save, you don't have the charge, but that's what your Lucio or Juno is there for anyway. But we are going over to Unknown Origin and their lineup, seeing exactly who will be duking out against the Varsity team here. We have Spelling Fail and BDG coming in on that DPS line. Slickest Rick coming in the front line with the Orisa favorite at the very least, Starry Night, and We're All Dead. That might happen, but ideally you don't want everyone to be dead in your team. You want everyone on their team to be dead. So we have those two in the back line, keeping up everybody and really enforcing, maybe the Orisa composition and, Orisa to be played on the Lijiang Tower. It's not unusual, and she's strong regardless on at least 2 of the 3 submaps. So I won't be surprised if we do see the Orisa come through.
No, it's not surprising in the least. You know, people haven't been leaning to her as much. Again, the default has kind of been the Ramatra once they took Malga out back with a double barrel shotgun. But listen, we don't have to go into details. But yeah, in terms of the brawls, it really has been a lot of Ramatra, but Orisa can definitely creep her way in. Throwing that spear at crucial timings when Ramatras are trying to block makes them a little bit more vulnerable to some of these damage indicators and other things that can really open up the fight. I think as well in terms of the tank, like obviously the tank line is always going to be important, whatever tanks end up getting played, but also the supports, right? A lot of people have been opting into these Brig Juno looks, but we have to seen some teams still maybe try to rely on the Kiri just because they need those cleansing Suzus at the right time to keep everybody alive. So I'm very interested to see what these supports are actually going to roll out on here. But as we're getting things started, it does look like potentially that Lucio Kiri on both sides.
Yeah, looking for Nene to actually pick onto with the Kiri there. But ideally, yeah, Lucio Kiri on both sides, but separate tanks, separate... Oh, me when I lie? No, we're going with the Maratra. I actually thought we were going to set him up for a second only because, after him getting his nerfs and, not really being as viable as he was about 2 months ago, I was about to be really, I was like, oh, I believe. But no, we're seeing a complete mirror here. Of course, coming for the teleport. Nona actually looking at it to keep the Symmetra in this engagement. BDG can be often go over to the Tracer here, so a lot of that extra angles being made with BDG as the fight starts to start off in the server room here, forcing Unknown Origin to back up and split a tiny bit. Put one part of it on the objective, the other part trying to navigate this hallway and meet up with the rest of the team here. Fight still ongoing, but Spellingfield having that advantage of being on the high ground already and set up. They drop down and get this nice good silent onto Piercing. Speaking of good sightlines, BDG in the back, though, gets the first opening pick onto Nonag Symmetra.
Yeah, and that first pick is sometimes all you need here in the fight. Unknown Origin getting to at least good to crew this point percentage here, and now they're pushing forward. Slick does have to try to stay alive, though.
He does, but he does somehow, some way, just holds block, goes for the shield, uses that, the slow as well, the vortex, excuse me, and now it's up starting to play these corners, help out with the engagement, and help out their server mantra with staying alive. And while this whole fight's happening in the front end of things, Megalas, we've lost Guitar Bob. Of course, Mac has come in, maybe shut down Spilling failed at the exact same time, and it's a 4v4 so far, but we are seeing someone get jumped, and it's gonna be Mac, and with exposing Nene's teleport there, and the lack of a Suzu, they're trying to also focus on that support. But I mean, good negation from Nene makes her live a little bit longer. Big pulls from DBG, however, means that Unknown Origin is still alive in this fight.
Yeah, and Unknown Origin now finally get to clean up. It was a super long, chaotic fight, pretty much for about 50% there. But I like how Unknown Origin is playing this. They're playing incredibly fast, right? Nonag on the Symmetra, this is a character that wants time to build up that beam, and then once the beam is built up, just sort of run down the enemy team. But being able to play this space right now, Unknown Origin is doing an incredible job of that, and then just working from there.
Comes to overclock, however, from Mag. Spellingfield being the one to shut it right down. Beautiful sound barrier from We're All Dead means that the fight continues onwards in the favor of Unknown Origin. Overclock is ready for Spellingfield, just needs to be ripped out whenever they want to here, forcing the rest of Varsity to back up. Here comes the wall, however, from Nonag. Is it going to be enough? It does find two, with some extra protection in the middle of the objective here. Guitar Buff playing the objective, trying to move everyone away from even trying to touch. 94% will be accomplished by Unknown Origin, and finally the Varsity team gets a little bit of breathing room to set up.
Yeah, but they did have to expend quite a few ultimates. They do have both support ultimates waiting in the wings here. That sound barrier is going to be crucial, especially with the potential overclock coming out from Spellingfield on the other side here. But also this Kitsune Rush can maybe let RRG finally get a little bit of forward momentum, get a little bit aggressive with it. But if they have to use this defensively, I feel like it's going to keep putting them on the back foot.
But look at the aggression. You see We're All Dead speeding in our Ramatra. Looks like we're going to be using the Annihilation for extra sustain. And here comes the Sound Barrier as a quick response. Guitar Ball getting straight in there, losing all the health of that Sound Barrier. But we're still up in the fight. Annihilation now having depleted. And here comes the Continued Rush alongside Spellingfield's aforementioned Overclock. Is it going to be enough to find a pick? It will be alongside the help of BDG. Nene going to be going down, and we trade off the turret actually being the one to find BDG. A little bit lacking in that regard, while Nonag sets up in the back area and helps pump in a lot of his damage in the forefront with the rest of the team here as Mag goes over to their own Tracer. Beautiful tracking on We're All Dead, and very much to their namesake, we are in fact all dead here.
I mean, the fact that RRG Varsity managed to weather that storm is a miracle in and of itself. Now they've been able to build up to another annihilation here. It's pretty much the only tool they're going to have. Of course, it does help, when you have a tracer that's aiming like Mag is right now, right? You don't have to necessarily worry about a pulse bomb. It's just the raw damage output that can't be there. We're All Dead has the sound barrier potentially to help live through this annihilation, but if Pearson can drop it at the right time, then it could actually be a good round for RRG.
I love that they're going around the rotation towards the backside of the objective, but you're in this small room, and Mega, I think you know as well as I, annihilating Mantra in a small room like that means everyone has to start getting out. Suddenly feel unfortunate not be able to find that sort of relief from the annihilation, and even then it's still ongoing. That's 2 other picks after the Sunbearer has already been expended from We're All Dead, and we're at overtime as well. The pulse bomb is ready for, of course, Mac to be expended here. That's the first one going down from BG. Finds the air, but nothing else, and no pulse bomb really needed. That's all they had to do to maintain the point, flip it back in their favor, and go 100 to 94%.
Yeah, I mean, this is the sort of confidence you expect from a team like RRG Varsity. This isn't some new roster. This is people who have played the game. They've been in these tournament situations before, and they feel the pressure, but it does not weigh on them in the slightest. Some very interesting things happening early on in the rounds, like little picks like this one right here. But ultimately, once you go over to the Tracer for RRG Varsity, it looks a lot better. It looks a lot more stable. Everybody's able to sort of play the game in the way they want to. An Unknown Origin simply kind of just trying to get chuck themselves at the point, but that just was not an answer that was going to work. Now heading into the night market, you are looking at potentially some more symmetric TPs from both sides here. It's a very common point to see TPs into the window and things like that, but only time will tell if it's going to find value for one side or the other.
Oh, they're quick with it too, Mega. They're already on the objective, speeding over to that teleporter and through the window, as you had just mentioned. Now, Varsity is set up beautifully here, as Unknown Origin has to find a way to poke in. I mean, we have four turrets set up, and we have one less Ash in the fight here. Mac popping off with that long-range takedown onto Spelling Veil, and that's the opening that, of course, RG needed to just continue onwards and force Unknown Origin back into the spawn room.
Yeah, back to the spawn room quick as you like you said here, and now RRG holding the forward space. Unknown Origin, knowing that they're not on the Symmetra is actually enabling this forward holding so incredibly well, right? Because now you don't have to worry about trying to run back to point to try to contest the space. It's, Unknown Origin has to walk to you. They're going to want to try to get sightline set up for their Ash, and it's going to be incredibly difficult, especially when you're TPing on the Ash.
Especially when Mac unfortunately couldn't get the TP off as well before being shut down by BDG. We trade off our hit scans once again here, but we're now looking at the objective, and Meg, I'm not sure about you, but Overwatch 2 is an objective-based game, and BDG just under their noses went right ahead and grabbed it from them, and now we're able to take around 6, 7, 8% here and regain composure as a 3v3 here, as we did lose, of course, Slickest Rick in the middle of that engagement. They're gonna keep the fight going with this new TP.
Yeah, they're trying to keep the fight going, see if they can get a quick flip back in their favor, and it seems like that's going to be the case here. And now, getting these cooldowns out from Starry Night as well, it could potentially make things go from great to even greater here, but Ramattra is trying to stick this one out and live, and it seems like finally now they're going down. The Kiriko is going to be the last one to fall, and now RRG, again, they didn't have to invest in ultimate, do anything crazy. They get to just sort of keep coasting right now. You're probably going to see an early Kitsune rush where they just sort of barrel down on Unknown Origin, and depending on what they pop in response, it could be interesting.
I don't even find anything though. Nene popping off with the Kiriko, I must say, finding these impeccable picks onto BG specifically and kind of keeping the Tracer in check without having your own Tracer. Usually it's a Tracer versus Tracer, but now it's Kiriko versus Tracer, and Nate's coming out on top every single time. Now, we have a Cassius swap here coming in from Spelling Veil. They're actually not going to find much value, and the Bob not even going to be used either. So we're really close to that Deadeye wall. Also ready for No-Nag, and I wanted to use it against this Kitsune Rush coming in from Starry Night. Beautifully done, again, from No-Nag, and now putting all the pressure on the Sickest Rick. They're backing up, forced to use that Annihilation for that extra armor, but they're being burnt down so fast, Mega! The fight is done!
The fight is over and done with. The only upside for Unknown Origin there is you got 3 ults out for your 2, so now you have a Pulse Bomb and a Deadeye to work with here. Sound Barrier might make it a little bit hard to find value with that Deadeye, but at the end of the day, it's more of a zoning tool than anything else. This should at least buy you some space to walk forward here, but you have to make sure that you live and you're not in the LOS of this Sojourn, who seems to be setting up a flank angle for this overclock.
And here's also the overclock as well. Actually, oh my goodness, even through the sound barrier, still able to find Guitar Belt with all that extra damage from the Deadeye. Here comes the overclock as well from the coast side here. To find at least one target of Starry Night. And we're going straight in against the remaining members of Unknown Origins. Billingfield not going over to the Venture. I do just contest a little bit longer as Unknown Origin during the fight swaps it over to 50% and now the objective in their favor. They gotta fight over and over and over again to maintain their point. And ooh, the beautiful boot from We're All Dead. And my Lucio? Guitar Bob? Bestie?
Just a bit of a reset.
Yeah, you know? Of course.
Just a simple reset. But that actually, very interestingly, that's sort of a full reset on both teams' old economy here. So now Unknown Origin, they're in position to hold here. They might want to try to play this slow, see if they can build up towards something like the Annihilation, use that as their fight-winning tool. But currently they're giving a little bit of space coast side that RRG Varsity is going to take full advantage of.
They're backing here, 80% to 96%. Unknown Origin looking very, very good to at least take the second round in their favor if they play this next part correctly, but losing your Venture, not gonna be the one to use this. So BG's job is now to get at least one pick to make the fight a little more even as my tank is being pressured out by Piercing here, who's able to negate the effect of this Annihilation coming in from Sickus Rick, and even through beautiful shooting, I must say. Good execution, good recapture of the objective, and just like that, in a very close Lijiang 2 rounds, RRG Varsity takes it over on Origin.
Yeah, I mean, this is about how we expected map to go this way with RRG again coming out ahead, but like you said, it was a very close affair, probably a lot closer than RRG was expecting here, and there were a lot of not just signs of life, but signs of high potential here coming out from Unknown Origin. I just wish that they had maybe figured things out a little bit sooner. We saw a little bit of sort of hero swap roulette coming out from the Ash to the Cassidy to the Venture going on. If you're able to sort of decide on your comp, find the value that you want, I feel like it's going to work out a lot better for you overall here. But, you know, RRG Varsity, at the end of the day, they were able to get the map win as messy as it was, and now they, you know, have a little bit of momentum heading into map 2.
Absolutely. They were down in that first round, like I mentioned, but then suddenly, yeah, they just kind of picked it right back up. And like you said, it was a little bit messy, was a little bit chaotic, but I think that's what lends itself to their composition. It's allowed to be messy. It's allowed to be a little bit unclean, and then they're able to play in that chaos and thrive in it. And I think that's what really gives RRG Varsity a little bit of a leg up against a lot of other teams where they want, you know, setups and they want to count these down. Varsity is just kind of like, listen, we get a pick, let's go. We rush in with the Ramattra and we're good to take it.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, that's sort of what RRG wanted, right? They go through, they get that first ban onto, my brain just blanked, the Pharah. And so they don't have to worry about anything in the sky, nothing fancy. They get to just play standard Ram Brawl. They have the Kiri in the back. You know, you did start out without that Tracer look, but I think it looked obviously 10 times better once the Tracer was in play, right? Just the tracking, you know, you commented on it once or twice, just out of this world here. But now Unknown Origin, the ball is in their court in terms of map pick here, and it seems like they made their decision rather quickly. We're heading on over to push.
Yeah, specifically Runasapi. All of the push maps available to us, I mean, I think one of the best ones to run, and for either team here, as they both like playing Brawl. And we were talking about how RRG Varsity thrives in chaos. If they want to go the Ram or even the Queen here, that still applies, and they want to live in that chaoticness of the Brawl they're going for. So as we move over into the ban phase, what can we possibly see here? I mean, again, we cannot do repeat bans per team, so the Pharah cannot be banned again by RRG Varsity. And Origin has the advantage of the first ban, and what do you think it could possibly be here?
It kind of depends on how comfortable they are, right? Like, I wouldn't say their Ram Brawl was bad, so it's not like something dire where you need to ban Ram, force it to a different tank mirror, because I think you're okay with this sort of Ram look. Potentially taking Tracer off of the table. Granted, your Tracer looked fine at points as well here, but so I guess I am just completely off mark here. Unknown Origin are deciding D.Va is going to be out of the mix here. This could be like a tank protect situation where maybe they want to be able to play some certain tank, and so just taking D.Va out of the mix gives them that advantage. But this also could feed into the Pharah, right? Now that RRG can't ban it, you don't have a D.Va that can patrol the skies as well here. It could just be free shooting for our rocket launching queen.
Yeah, absolutely. The Diva was a little bit out of left field. Maybe it is a tank ban, like you mentioned. Oh, it's a tank protect, excuse me. Just of the role itself, and in that regard, they want to ban the Diva. RG Varsity, what are they thinking? Like, okay, do they want to deal with a dive? Do they want to avoid one? What's the best way to avoid a dive or negate a dive comp is to ban the Brigida, kind of disallowing both two strong compositions, that being the Ana Brig and the Juno Brig. So if even though they're both running Kiri Lucio, Juno Brig, you mentioned it earlier, very strong backline. Ideally, the ones you want to play into most of your compositions.
Yeah, so this probably just means that we're going to see Lucio Kiri again. Like, I'm kind of hard expecting that now, just because, again, without the break, you're really lacking a lot. Some teams have tried to pilot, like, Ana Juno comps, and it just feels like the Ana kind of ends up getting left on an island a little bit. No real support that can come towards the Ana. But hey, who knows? Both these flex supports currently do have Ana highlighted as one of their favorite characters, so maybe they've got something cooking up in their sleeves. That being said, though, I would be surprised if we did not see at least one Pharah take to the skies here. Lots of rooftops to play around, and not a lot of high ground or any real positions that Hitscan can take that can really sort of fight back against the Pharah. It's one of the best maps for her in the game, and so I'm just hoping to see that sort of look here. But it seems like dive might be on the menu instead here. Sombra Tracer. Little bit of a differentiation on tanks here, the Winston versus the Wrecking Ball in the spawn room. We'll see how long that lasts, as Piercing has decided that the Winston was too much and they would like to leave the
game. Piercing's like, you know what, I'm actually not gonna play the Winston today. I'm actually not gonna play the game at all. I'm gonna go back, reset my things here. As we wait for a reconnect from Piercing, we saw a little glimpse of those compositions. It was the ball dive versus the more coordinated Winston dive coming in with both Sombra and Tracer at the helm. Backlines are different, however. You did call that there might be an Ana cooking, and the Ana Lucio we've seen a couple of times in the greater Overwatch sphere, and even a little bit, with a side variation with the Ana Juno you mentioned earlier. So I'm hoping my Ana does not get left behind like an island or anything like that, especially as we are walking into a full dive with the Lucio Kiriko backline of Unknown Origin. So it's like, you're playing slow and steady in the back with the Ana Lucio, you're playing fast and quick with the Kiri Lucio. So what could happen? It really is a matter of what will survive, slow and steady or fast and get in, get out.
Yeah, and that's sort of the thing, right? Being able to get in and get out, that's where you sort of need, some of those more faster agents, right? As much as we all love Grandma, that's just not her specialty. But, she does provide those other unique advantages to her, right? You have the sleep dart to try to hinder an opponent who's maybe trying to jump on you, and that creates an opportunity to get a pick. And of course, the biotic grenade, I mean, it goes without question. Sometimes you have to throw it down to give some teammate that's fed a little bit too hard some healing, but the value, of course, comes from applying that anti-effect to your opponents, because no healing means that they are just ripe for the picking for these DPS lines. And to be fair, DPS on both sides have been getting their fair share of kills. So, those potential openings could be massive here if it's followed up on. But again, it's just sort of a wait and see moment to see if the Ana will actually be the real pick or if we will just be boring and stick with the Kiriko.
Yeah, that's the thing at play here. Will the nades come off? Will we run? Arguably, I would run Groggy perk as well with the Ana against a ball, specifically a ball dive, because oh my goodness, ball players, every dive tank in the world hates that Groggy effect when they wake up and they're slowed for 2 seconds. Oh, it's beautiful to see. Oh my god, yes, you can't dive anymore. Get out of here. And I feel like that's going to also be something we could be running with Nene on that on Lucio. However, I mean, you have a Tracer on you, you have a Sombra on you, you have a Ball on you, you have a Lucio on you, arguably even Kiriko. At some point, we might be seeing that Kira Lucio come back instead for RRG Varsity. But Piercing is back. We're ready to restart the map. We just did a quick restart because it was literally in the very beginning, so nothing too crazy here. Same comps, Guitar Bob, definitely not on Life Weaver. Stop playing with me. We're going to be going over to Lucio ideally.
Listen, no, what do you mean? Life Weaver's here to pull the Ana to safety. Whenever she gets that, it's like a counter dive measure, right? Like Winston, he has a leap. He doesn't need Lucio's speed boost to get around the map. Same with Sojourn. Like Sojourn and Soldier, they both have like abilities to move with their legs and stuff. They've got it. Now, granted, the Soldier 76 is real. I thought it was just going to swap over to Tracer. No, we're actually sitting on Soldier 76. As somebody who watched Lip waste 8 minutes on a push map last night on Soldier 76, Nonag, you are on thin ice already. You got to find value incredibly quickly here. Otherwise, I would flame you if you were my teammate.
You're gonna get Megalaz in your lobby right now, and they're gonna just your species is gonna turn off. Like, she's there, she's gonna kill you, and that's it. But here comes Piercing coming with the dive, and just there it is. There is Mega. You got your value. Nonag gets a final blow onto We're All Dead here, and Piercing looking a little bit worse for wear, but gets healed up and looks to the next target. Give me the big sleep onto the ball and the anti-nade, forcing the shields to be used almost immediately here, and leaving the ball a little bit naked as the rest of the team starts to falter a lot here on the side of Unknown Origin.
Falter is the word for it, right? A lot of good setup, a lot of good peel as well, where, you look at this comp, you think the Ana would be incredibly vulnerable, but both the Lucio and Winston ready to help out for whenever Nene is in trouble, and now already halfway to that nano boost. And there's a lot of good nano options on this team when you think about it, but with the engage from Unknown Origin, we'll have to see.
No! Oh, there goes all of the value that I could have. Really good boot coming in from Sickus Rick and negating a lot of that extra little bit of damage that Soda does offer. I mean, it forces the rest of the team of Varsity to back up, and they also get a really last-minute pick onto Mac. No! No! I did not just see that. No. Cut the cameras.
You had
the
grapple.
Cut the lobby.
Grapple. Why go for just the slam? Just play it safe. Use your grapple. You had it. It was online. I saw it. But this is just RRG Varsity continuing the push here. This should be them unlocking forward spawns as well here. Not a death sentence on Esperanza, because the forward spawns are just the beginning of the map, I personally feel. But a lot of ultimates coming up on both sides here. It's going to make this next fight an interesting one, depending on who wants to invest.
I'm still not over the slam into the air there, but we gotta move on. We have, of course, the BDG having the pulse on ready. Hasn't the recall be expended early onwards? Big stick onto Nonag, almost walking right into Nene, forces the self heal of that anti-nade for themselves. Nene actually gets the kill onto BDG, goes for the nano onto their fellow support, and Guitar Bob is going crazy here. Sunbearer is, of course, going to be on the back pocket on line as well, just in case this ball gets a little bit too big for their britches here. Sickus Rick trying to back up, trying to get out as fast as possible as we do go past that checkpoint and activate that forward spawn.
Are we going to acknowledge the clearly deliberate and intentional boostio there, or are we just going to glaze right past that one? And I guess the answer is we're just going right past. I mean, Unknown Origin invested a lot there to not come away with a fight win, which is tragic, because now RRG, they got EMP, Tac Visor, Primal, Sound Bear, whatever they want to throw into this fight to win, they can just use.
Okay, I think Mac is definitely looking for a big EMP here. Actually forces out the Sound Bear early onwards here as well. So that's really good. We have some of the lines kind of negating and splitting up the rest of the team between that corner and the forward corner. I mean, the bot is still pushing up, only just now recently going to be stolen a bit here, backing a couple meters from that barricade. And this ultimate, this primal, oh my goodness, gonna be doing a lot of wonders in disrupting and displacing the rest of the team of Unknown Origin. Sickus Rick having to back up really far to get the mega pack, but Varsity without their Lucio now giving some space and resetting in the middle of the objective.
Yeah, RRG Varsity, they've had to make some swaps. Soldier 76 is no more. They still hold on to this EMP here, which will be good for this center fight where people are more grouped up, but we'll have to see who that EMP ends up going out onto.
Oh, we're actually gonna be seeing where that pulse bomb goes on to. Nene gonna be a victim of the circumstances. Down 2 now, gonna be the Winston as well. BDG does take an unfavorable trade against Mac, as they also are getting rid of, as Guitar Bomb also going down for RRG Varsity. Very nice clean dry fight being done by Unknown Origin. I mean, save for the pulse bomb, which is like, okay, it's pulse bomb.
Yeah, it's pulse bomb. You're gonna get it back. You know, again, I hate to keep bringing it up, but RRG Varsity, we've had EMP for like 5 fights now at this point. Can we use the ultimate that would win us a fight, pretty much guaranteed? Because at this point, Spelling is about to earn up to their own EMP and lap you in ult chart just to be able to dismantle the rest of your squad.
Oh, big hack, even better from Mac here. Sigur's Rick looking so low. Here comes the EMP you're talking about earlier. Probably a little bit of telekinesis tapped into there in that moment, Mega, as we finally see a beautiful fight win. Like you said, it's an easy, clean fight win. You negate the ball, can't do nothing, it explodes, everyone else dies, and just like that, we got the bot back in the favor of RRG Varsity.
Yeah, and, you know, it's great. You even get this late kill on Spelling here, so now it's going to be even more time that Unknown Origin has to sort of regroup here. Potentially going to see RRG reactivate their forward spawns here. And a bit of some interesting tools for both sides here. A nano boost on either side, probably going to go onto the tank or somebody who needs to just live through the fight here, and we'll have to see how that value then generates. But like we were saying, Spelling is building up to their own EMP, and we just saw how impactful that can be in a fight.
I mean, as we're seeing this fight happen on the coast side of things, Pulsar gonna be going crazy onto BDG, actually catching them lacking and finishing up onto Slickest Rick. I was gonna mention how the bot is still moving despite this fight happening on coast, and it's gonna continue onwards without your tracer or your ball there to help negate and push out the fight. The fight keeps happening anyway, Mega.
Yeah, RRG Varsity is certainly putting the pedal to the metal, you know, and just absolutely making Unknown Origin really feel their pressure time and again here. And, you know, it's showing time and again, but this EMP is massive!
It's massive, but we still get the nano off onto Piercing, who's gonna be able to farm Primal really quickly from the extra damage from the nano boost as they now go in with a lot of aggression, a lot of confidence. BG not gonna be able to survive any longer in contesting the objective for any more seconds. Unknown Origin starting to stagger back into the fight slowly but surely with the nano and mines on lock.
And now with this barreling down towards the potential end here, like you said, there's just a lot of tools Unknown Origin has, as long as they don't have to overinvest everything.
The pulse-on would be a good one, but here's the sound barrier from Guitar Bob, and we do, oh my days, Guitar Bob gonna be jumping right into the loving grasp of that minefield, and that's enough of an indication for RRG Varsity to back up.
Yeah, but I mean, they're more than happy to back up, right? 139 meters, that just daring your opponent to sort of have to match that level of meterage is absolutely ludicrous here. Piercing is still going in, though. This fight might not be done.
Now the sound barrier, we got the Primal out, we got sound barrier out as a response. Big nade comes into Pearson, not able to get any healing for another couple of seconds, but they still find the kill regardless onto Starry Knight. The bubble comes in and gets him. Oh, we had the bubble buff here, or perk here to get that healing inside of it. So no need to rely on our backline. Yeah, we lost Mac, but fight's still going. Wait, hold on. No one's. Can we touch? Can we touch? Surely. Okay, we're touching.
We're touching, but for how much longer? Thankfully, that pulse is there. But yeah. Finally, they're going to get them out of their spawn. But again, that's a whole nother minute. They just got burned off the clock when Unknown Origin, you know, they had the fight won previously. It's just that this unrelenting aggression that RRG Varsity is throwing at them is really throwing them for a loop. Now that we've completely reset the ult bank on both sides here, Unknown Origin, the closest to anything with that EMP from Spelling here. But as we saw last time, that's not a guaranteed fight win. I mean, like it should be, right? There has to make sure that there's some follow-up from the rest of the team.
Oh, Sombra jump scare. BDG's trying to get out of there immediately. It gets peeled back, and then re-peeks into the same Sombra. Matt coming in for a little bit of Phantoms at Freddy's action. The rest of the team can be picking up what they started, and it's going to be the bot going right back in the hands of RRG Varsity with just 30 seconds after the previous fight.
And again, this unrelenting aggression, RRG, you know, they could absolutely play this 10 times safer and just sort of try to farm and just take fights as they need, but no, they're looking for the map completion. They want to show that level of dominance here, and they might just be able to do it. They're going to have a nano boost online here, and throwing that onto Piercing is going to turn this monkey from a lethal threat to a deadly one.
EMP also online here, Megala. So if Spillingfield can put an end to this relatively quickly as we jump in, and there it is, beautiful. Oh, one support down. Can we get a second one? We don't. Nene going down, but Guitar Bomb stays alive throughout the fray. Piercing gonna be getting domed right in the head by We're All Dead, but is it a little bit too late?
I mean, look at the level of investment Unknown Origin is having to throw out right now just to try to get out of their own spawn room, right? Starry Night just threw in the nano and it just wasn't enough. RRG Varsity, without tanks, without supports, they're still willing to fight this time and again here. And now with only 30 seconds left in their name, Unknown Origin have a Herculean task ahead of them. They have a minefield and a pulse bomb to do it. But other than that, if one thing goes wrong here, then this map is going to slip out of their hands.
Absolutely, but all they've done is waste time. Only 15 seconds left on the objective. Here comes the EMP. The pulse-on goes crazy onto Piercing, and so does the minefield, kind of putting a stop to any sort of touch on the bot here, coming in from anybody else. The Guitar Bob gets caught in between a rock and a hard place of the bus and the wall. Big sleep, but then they got back out of there almost immediately, running the actually running quick scope. Actually did crit scope instead of the self nano.
I mean, that's just kind of disrespect on another level, right? We know how good the Self Nano is. Just deciding, yeah, I'm going to make this a bit more of a DPS game. But Unknown Origin now actually getting to move the bot here. They still have to secure forward spawns and then go about 80 meters beyond that. But, you know, they have some tools to do it with, but now they're looking at this Nano Winston.
Looking at Nana Winston, also looking at Mac in the backline, kind of getting rid of the extra Sombra on the field here, just like his rig, but without those of shield, without anyone else to help them out. That's a map win under the belt of RRG Varsity, now up in the series by 2 and on match point.
This unrelenting aggression, even again, down members, they say they don't care. They're just gonna keep it going and just sort of slamming their head into the wall here. And you know, hey, it's working out for them, so I can't necessarily fault the style here. Just being this ability of clutch, this level of just aggression here, it's something you really can't replicate. Something you can't just say, oh, you know, let's just magically have it happen. We're learning to not play on the edge of the map, hopefully. You know, you have all of this ground on the map, but we decided that no, we're just going to get to the edge. Let's farm the Lucio clip, so why don't we? But yeah, I mean, Unknown Origin, you know, a valiant effort, but unfortunately RRG Varsity just seem stronger right now, and they're just slowly bending this match in their favor, and now Unknown Origin has to try to look down the barrel of a reverse sweep if they want this series to be theirs.
And it's going to be a tough one. RRG Varsity are not here to play around. They're not here to play any sort of games besides winning. So Unknown Origin might have to do some, maybe some workshopping in the break as we go between map 2 and map 3. We had the ball. I think we just had the ball for a little bit too long. I would love to see them actually mirror the Winston and just going for an all-in dive on Nene and force him off the on. I mean, anything like that I feel like would have given us a little bit more of a, I guess, more even game, because after around the 3-ish minute mark, that objective was not moving any further into Unknown Origin's territory. It was only going further and further into Varsity's territory, even after we had some fights winning for Unknown Origin. So, speaking of, we have to go to a break. We have to let Unknown Origin decide what map are they going to go to next and what their first ban will be. Don't go anywhere. Be right back with map 3. And of course, we're back after that quick break. As a reminder, Varsity looking real good right here. RRG up 2-0 in the series on match point and facing the decider match here. Will it be a 3-0 or will it be the start of a reverse sweep for Unknown Origin? They have the playing field, they have the choice, and we're going to take it where it all began. We're going to Kings Row, Nicholas.
Kings Row, another map that's just classic, the chef's kiss, if you will. You know, every Overwatch player knows it and does exactly what they need to on it here. But again, I'd be interested to see how this is going to go after we just had a pretty nice little dive map that you don't normally get with Esperanza. A lot of teams like to still force brawl comps there. But this should be more of a return to the brawl. But of course, the bans can absolutely change that, right? Depending on what these teams are thinking. Unknown Origin currently has the pressure on them of banning first, and with some of the more questionable choices that came out from RRG Varsity, you know, I still remember the Soldier 76. She got one kill, but maybe beyond that, we don't talk about that character. But yeah, just a lot of options, a lot of things to consider here for Unknown.
Yeah, and we had to, you know, remind everybody they already banned Reinhardt, and we know Piercing loves to play the character, so they can't re-ban him. So instead, let's try to find something that was a little bit of a problem last time. Calling back to Lijiang Tower, we saw the Symmetra. We saw how well she worked. We're gonna ban her on Kings Row. Arguably another map she does really well on in the right hands. And if it's RRG Varsity, yeah, she's in the right hands. So honestly, I would say a pretty solid pick there.
Yeah, very solid pick. And again, it inhibits, you know, cheese comps and things like that, forces things to be a little bit more standard when you see that RRG maybe is taking things off the track a little bit, especially after the last map, so forces them to be a little bit more standard with it. But RRG now has the power in their hands. It's either going to be a tank or support. I'd be interested to see if we're banning Ramatra. So if we're going to see Brawl, it's going to have to be at the hands of Malga, Reinhardt, or Orisa, as no longer an option is the Ramatra. But this could also mean this quickly turns into a dive map, which, if we're going off of last map as an indicator, might not bear that well for Unknown Origin.
Yeah, I have to agree. The Ramatra, again, RRG Varsity understood, okay, they want to go Brawl. Clearly, they saw the power of the Ramatra, and it wasn't bad. We mentioned it earlier, the Brawl from Unknown Origin with the Ram back in Lijiang Tower was really good. Unfortunately, let me see the head-to-head real fast. I saw this. Okay, starting out is there. We have the rest of the head-to-head. No swaps, no alternates. Everyone's still coming in to duke it out and finish it off. Slickest Rick, I mean, he likes the Orisa. I wouldn't be surprised if we did see a variation in going over to the Orisa Brawl instead. Piercing has Reinhardt open, ladies and gentlemen. We might be seeing the Rein into the Orisa today. At least I would think so.
Rein into Orisa will last one team fight, and then the Reinhardt will switch. Because Reinhardt into Orisa, as somebody who loves Orisa, it is a miserable matchup. There's no other words to put it. As the Reinhardt, you lose a lot of agency into the Orisa, and Fortify sort of negates any and everything you want to do. But Piercing on the defense potentially does want to pilot here, as RRG is kind of letting everybody pick some fun characters besides Guitar Bob, who has to be on Lucio. Meanwhile, Unknown Origin switching it up, being a little bit of a poke comp here, having the Sigma in tow, throwing out the Widow shots as well here. Spelling can easily switch after the fact, but could also just say it, and again, play the distance from RRG, not let them close that gap, and just simply poke them out until there's no health left for RRG to live.
Well, Nonag is playing your favorite character in the game here. Soldier and Junkrat coming in as the chosen DPS line. And just very quickly you can see that spam we were talking about earlier is going to be seen from Ronald getting that first pick. And the other support as well, Lucio. So no back Lucio in the side for Varsity, as Piercing is forced to back up, getting over and out angled by Starry Night, by Spellingville, by BDG, and just like that, probably the fastest we've seen on Origin succeed against an RRG Varsity defense.
It's almost like RRG Varsity should not pick not troll characters, but characters where they can have more fun. But Nonag actually gets one onto the Juno here to start this fight out.
and they're able to re-emerge and actually contest right after that second tick has been expended here. High ground does get flushed out by Mac here off of, I mean, unfortunately, he's only onto a low ground, but BDG is just there always to make sure we pick up where that Junkrat does leave off. BG now looking at Piercing, and Nene forcing the deflect already to be expended, and finishing off Guitar Bob almost immediately. Nene jumps out of the Mortality Field, gets that extra little bit of damage being put onto them, and just like that, I'm pretty sure we're going to be seeing a swap from the side of RRG Varsity. No! They're playing with this.
Yeah, I mean, they're currently still on these 5 heroes out of spawn. Is that the smartest decision you could ever make? I'll leave that one up to the experts to decide, but instead we'll focus on Unknown Origin here, who have, you know, they've got the payload unlocked and they've got it cruising here. They're not going to be held up in this first choke. They've already been able to gain some of the space, so that way the Reinhardt can't just hold shield there. And this is just such interactive gameplay from the Junkrat here.
It was really funny because originally, before they moved, they were actually hitting the side of the doorway, and the bombs were going all the way to the right. But like Zivillian has easy pick a clean kill onto Smelling Fail, excuse me, but then gets called out by BDG being so low. Hammer, big slam comes in, but no pin means we gotta use this window. Here's the Flux as a rebuttal. And a beautiful Immortality Field keeps everyone alive, but only for a slightly bit longer. It's just my poor boy Guitar Bob left undirected to stall it, but we still have 4 minutes to push this down the streets.
Yeah, and, you know, all the time in the world right now, RRG Varsity, again, it's just taking these fights, trying to throw their investments out, see if they can find any value with anything, and currently the answer has been no. You do have Attack Visor that's going to be thrown directly into a Sigma Shield, so the level of value it can generate is going to be questionable to be sure. But now we have to see as RRG is ready to meet them here once again.
Oh, was able to get Bob out right as they died. So Bob is kind of playing in the field, forcing Pearson to go into the alleyway, avoid the extra pressure of the Bob. Starry Night has to use the movement ability of Juno. The fire strike just nearly goes wide, and now we gotta deal with Stickus Rick by themselves on the Sigma. Hands Array forced early, and Mega Pack stolen from Piercing. I mean, talk about being put between a rock and a hard place. Couldn't get out, couldn't get Mega, couldn't get anything done there.
Couldn't get anything done. Now the Rip Tire's coming out after the kill on the Zen here. Will the Tire do anything but claim a shield? The answer is no. And so now we have a little bit of a chaotic fight here. The chaos is where RRG Varsity is trying to thrive in, but it seems like Unknown Origin is still trying to get this payload done through point B.
Comes to Sound Barrier though, big aggressive push coming in from the side of RG Varsity. Mac himself is going to be actually putting a lot of pressure on the Ash, forces the coach going to be expended from Stunveil. And we also get rid of BDG, so that Dragon Blade is no longer going to be in the fight, but what sucks here is you don't have anything for the aforementioned Dragon Blade.
Okay. Okay.
Even Guitar Bob is like, what?
Hey, ho, ho, ho. Anyway, Unknown Origin. I mean, Starry Night, you have your own orbital ray here. You should throw it at Piercing just as like a counter dominance move here, but we'll have to see if that's what they want to do. As now the fight has been brought back to the spawn room.
And we lose BDG again. So, I mean, they're just going into the spawn, trying to waste as much time as possible. Mind you, they start off with a 4 minute time, 4.5 minute time, maybe 5 minute time bank for Unknown Origin, and RG Varsity, despite the competition of all time, have chiseled it down to about a minute and a half. Here comes the Flux into the visor. Translocator, excuse me. Transcendence already expended early on as well, so nothing to really negate this besides a last-minute blade. Just finish off Piercing. Will it do the rest of the team, however? No, not trying to find his one before inevitably going down to BDG's Genji.
Yeah, and now the Genji finally able to claim those kills with the help of the Master Zenyatta here. And now we're finally back on the payload. But guess what? RRG now able to respawn here. There is still that orbital ray from Starry Night here to try to give the advantage to Unknown Origin, but we'll have to see if they can actually do.
Ooh, look at the tracking on the rock. And the orbital ray coming down main. Here comes the last minute contest coming in from Piercing on the Reinhardt. Only 46 seconds left on the point here. Good luck again on Piercing, but Slick is looking really worse for Red. Doesn't have the hands on, off cooldown. Didn't have Rock either, but despite all that, we are still seeing the fight go in favor of the on the Origin. Bob on the point. No Knight gets pushed right into the Bob, finished off by the Dynamite. Very nicely done from on the Origin to clean it right back up.
Yeah, and so now finally after, you know, not necessarily the time bank that you had heading into this, but you are able to get into point C now. A lot of distance being accrued on this car. RRG Varsity is making the Junkrat pick work, is what I will say there, as they get a long range pick on Spelling. And so now they just have a bit more time in this fight. This next one, though, the Rip Tire should be devastating unless another Sigma Shield is there to block it.
Not gonna be able to save Zenyatta, though. We're all dead. Literally going to the spawn room dead as a doorknob. Now, what's gonna happen here as... Oh, we're going straight to the spawn. I wouldn't want anything less from a Reinhardt lover. Nene. However, out in the open, so is Nona gets called out by Spelling Fail, and just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we have, again, despite all the feeding and everything... No, not like this. Hello? Yo.
I think we're getting a little bit silly. I think silliness has entered the equation in what RRG Varsity is doing here, believe it or not. That being said, they do have a Shatter, so if they just want to drop it right here, that would be the move!
Ooh, but here comes the visor as well from Nonag as a response to the Transcendence. Slickensrig still lives to see another fight, may I say. Flux gonna be ready for this for the Sigma character here. For half a second, I thought Piercing was about to fall into that little crevice, into the lava. But we only find Guitar Bob. But however, this team is kind of opposition. Not really gonna be able to get a lot of easy peel from this team here. They're super low, and we are actually using the Shield Bash perk here from my Reinhardt player.
We did use the Shield Bash perk was selected and a Shield Bash was performed. Anything beyond that is mystery here. But now entering overtime, Unknown Origin, they are heading towards a potential finish here. They do have a Dragon Blade, a Bob, a lot of tools to get the job done here. They just have to secure the kills.
I'm not gonna be a secure one on Nonag. Nonag is out of there by the speed of his feet. And the beautiful, good Immortality Field keeps Piercing alive a little bit longer. But here's the Bob putting a lot of pressure on that front line. We do get a trade-off of DPS's Junkrat for the Ash. Big deflect, No Knight having to fight it out against BDG. Actually winning it out with the peel of Guitar Bob. Piercing has been in the front line, however, doing their darndest to keep the fight alive, but get booped into the air and finished off by an Orbital Ray Starry Night. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be a C9! Oh my days! What do you mean, you C9? What? What? What?
Oh.
Give me that instant replay, prod, because I need to see what happened. Well, this is a whole. We'll see it. I gotta see that C9. What? What?
Oh my goodness. Sometimes, you know, the Charlie Niner, it comes for us all in the end here. I just want to point out, RRG Varsity, I understand maybe you're having your fun, but your fun did cost, you know, 2 and almost 3 points here. I think there was like 3 meters left at the end of it there, so RRG Varsity actually now has a task ahead of them to try to get through this map.
Yo. Did we clip the Junkrat?
We got the shadow. We got the shadow.
The Junkrat? Yeah, oh my god, please. I really hope we did clip, you know, Matt getting a little bit overzealous. That was hilarious. But I
little bit.
I can't believe I can't believe we see 9. I can't believe it.
I can.
Now, oh my
I can believe it.
God. They were in the Mega, they were in the orbital. They were all there, but they got too active. I can't believe it.
Listen, sometimes it happens to the best of us. Oh, hey, look, there's the C9.
Yeah,
look, they're all in the orbital.
They're in the orbital, and...
No, do you know what it is? Believe it or not, Starry Night magically is in the totally normal watch mode, where the orbital just lifts them up. That's what happens.
Someone check the settings in the custom game, please. Okay, Nona going over to the Widowmaker, and I think sticking on to it. They haven't talked off or anything quite yet, but BDG is gonna be trading off for Nene here. But Pearson looking very on the high ground, a little bit too separate from everyone else. Gonna be seeing two of their teammates going down for the count and having to back up almost immediately. They have 3.5 minutes to do this. They could. It's just can they not be silly? They gotta lock in.
I mean, yeah, but again, they do have to lock in, and currently Unknown Origin is, as much as RRG Varsity may be toying around having fun, Unknown Origin is playing exactly how they need to in this situation, just slowly getting picked time and again here, trying to get staggers out where they can't. Like, look at this, there's still a Junkrat in when you're missing half your team, but I guess then he just decides to get a kill. Why not?
Not just one, but two really important picks here, that being your Ashe and your Juno. You lose Nonag, which is fine, but you losing Nene, now that's not okay. We have to avenge Nene here. And it's not gonna happen. No one's really gonna be putting BDG in check, so they can be looking over at Piercing from the back, and that shield, unfortunately, is not a Winston bubble. They die for their efforts, and they've lost about another minute off of this fight.
Another minute, like you said. Again, this defense, it's been solid so far here, even in the face of adversity. They just have to keep finding these specs, finding their moment with the Pope composition. You're going to see a Gravitic Flux come online here as the first ultimate as well here. Shows how much work the Sigma is doing, and let's see how many are lifted.
Ooh, I love that Dynamite over the shield, ignites it, and just catches Piercing completely off guard here. Phil looking really good, I have to say, on the Ashe here versus Nonag on the Widow. But the sites are almost online, almost have Shatter. As important as that might be to some people, it's not very important to Piercing at the very least.
Yeah, and so now it is just everybody running through Hotel, but now BDG is trying to do something in here.
We're gonna go for the Dragon Blade. We are gonna be seeing the lamp come through at the same time, but BDG not able to find anyone with the Dragon Blade, and that's two picks here, that being your tank and your DPS. Big Sunbear from Guitar Board means a fight finally after 3.5 minutes. I'll say 3 minutes. We have finally started taking some percentage on the objective. Yo.
Piercing. I think the Earth Shatter. I got the bug. A classic. I think J3 had a hairline still when that joke was relevant. Anyway, walking forward here, RRG Varsity is just doing as they please. They do have a tire to work with, but it seems like Piercing is just going to be the tire himself.
There's two of them, and they're actually pushing the objective. We're pushing Alleyway with the Orbital Ray as well. Piercing called out a tiny bit here, can be found out by BDG, and as they back up, they have to reconvene as a team here. So Phil looking over at this high ground, trying to get some extra little bit of value before eventually backing up. Nonag finally going to the Cassidy here. I would love to say the Soldier or anything, but oh, that's a big pin, but even bigger pick onto Piercing. Super late into an super early into a fight too.
Super early into the fight. Indeed here. So now RRG Varsity a little bit halted on their attack here. This defense, again, it's been proving incredibly well for Unknown Origin here. They don't have any tools to really work with, so they have to try to find some way to lift this tire. Easier said than done.
Simple does it. Tire onto BDG, and now Piercing is walking the rest of the streets of King's Road. Piercing is starting really off the high ground. Note that can be finishing off the kill here, and now we gotta start running. Dead by Daylight. Who? Goodbye, we're all dead. And it's gonna be Slickish Red coming in after the fact, going in to try to peel for the Zenyatta. And we get the final pick here, last but not least. Oh, and we get the tactical crouching off. No. I can't believe it. This game is not real.
Here's
and we get the reversal.
Here's how you tell Piercing is locked in. Piercing didn't waste Shatter in that stairwell on the Sigma. Piercing realizes that maybe they've been a little too much silliness on the map, and now they're actually running out of time. But they don't get there in time.
No, they don't touch again. Yo, I need Unknown Origin to become a bunch of touchers. They need to touch the cart like a couple of times. 3-minute time bank off of silliness, by the way, Megalas. Shatter online. We're about to get the Sound Bear as well. There's nothing for Unknown Origins to really deal with. So they have to go with a dry fight, and they have to just succeed to the Shatter from Piercing. It finally, world's most useful Piercing Shatter. Even better than the charge on the BDG. Beautifully done.
Beautifully done, and now the momentum is just continuing to build here. Unknown Origin starting to struggle and show their fear a little bit. They do have a lot of good tools, right? The blade, the bob, as well as the transcendence to keep everybody alive. But there is still tons of time on the bank. They can't invest everything here.
They can't. Did I? Is gonna be ready here. We actually go over to the Winston as well. Bubble gonna be used really early on and pop right open, and they're just waiting out the Bob here, who's gonna be going away in just a couple of seconds, right in the corner, and we have the Deadeye I want to see be used, and it's gonna be making some space. Do we get the beautiful Sunbear and Deadeye combo against BDS, who is now backed up? I'm sorry, BDG, who's now backed up. No blade to be seen, but here's Zenyatta right here with the Transcendence. Now, is it going to be enough to stick it through for RRG Varsity with about 2 minutes left in the bank to bring it all the way? Not even 2.3, just slightly above 65 meters. It's trade after trade. Here's the orbital ray, however, and that might be enough to scare off Varsity into backing up and fully resetting.
Yeah, and it seems like that is going to be the case here. But like I said, Unknown Origin, they couldn't invest everything, but they did. They had to throw it all in the kitchen sink. So now it is just raw mechanics and cooldowns here up against a Riptire, a Shatter, an Amplification Matrix. RRG Varsity has so many different ways they can win this fight. A single kill will do it in most regards here. And also somebody has to be on that payload to make sure nothing nefarious happens again.
Thankfully, Nene stayed alive long enough to proc open with, of course, the Amplification Matrix. Here comes a tire from the back, finds nothing but the already dead body of Starry Knight. Piercy's not going to be in the fight any longer, but neither are DPS for the side of Unknown Origin. Slick and Strick going down right after the fact, and ladies and gentlemen, Starry Knight's the only one that can contest, but the only one that can ever do anything. It's going to be RRG Varsity taking the win with the silliest comp I've seen in the GM tier. Moving on throughout the winner side bracket.
Yeah, RRG maybe having a little bit too much fun here, but at the end of the day, the fun got the job done, so you can't complain too much, I guess. They now have themselves a spot in the winner finals. Meanwhile, Unknown Origin, they are going to be going down to that lower bracket. 1 life remaining. They've got to make it count. But yeah, RRG just, they showed up. It was a great map 1. Some good comebacks. It was close. Everything was great. And then somewhere around like 30 meters into map 2, RRG Varsity decided to just hit the gas a little bit too hard, and there was no real comeback after that for Unknown Origin.
Yeah, I got a little too silly. Oh, not the double whammy. I think what's worse about that highlight is that it's one right after another of people falling off or just dying off the coast of Varsity. And of course, Nene just looking over and dying, killing BDG in the middle of that while we have a Boostio on the screen. A lot of fun things happened today. A lot of silliness did happen, not just from Piercing, to be fair, but from everybody on RRG Varsity. But did they have fun? I'm assuming they did. Oh my god, I can't see this match. Very unserious match, but overall fun regardless. Unknown Origin jumping down to the lower bracket, but they're not quite out yet. Again, double elimination, so anything can happen in the next coming days where they have to play the next match. And we have the infamous. Oh no, this is the cap. I thought it was the infamous C9. I was like, no, I can't see it again. I cannot see that. I might die secondhand embarrassment if I see the infamous C9 again. But as a reminder, here is the score line for the 3-0 for RRG Varsity, 2-0 on Lijiang, but albeit very close both rounds. Murasaki got a little bit silly, but we got it done with 1-0, and then of course you just saw the 3-2 on King's Row in a very, very close fashion as well, I must say. Save for the C9. If that didn't happen, it might have been another round 4 or 5 for us over here, but otherwise, RRG Varsity moves on 3-0.
Yeah, they move on indeed here. Another quick look at the bans in case you were curious. You wanted to see what heroes got banned, where the bans. Again, simply seeing that both these teams maybe wanted to lean away from Hard Brawl, make it into a game that's more their own here. But yeah, I think it's a very interesting matchup here, and I'm sure RRG Varsity has plenty to say about this matchup here. So we will actually be throwing it to a short little break. Nothing too crazy. But on the other side of it, we will have somebody from the side of RRG who can maybe explain the true mastermind behind some of these meta comps that they were running. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with an explanation.
Carpe diem. Carpe diem.
I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall.
Welcome back, everybody. After a wonderful 3-0 in favor of RRG Varsity, we have Rocket here to give us some well-deserved answers for most of these maps. Rocket, how are we doing? How is the team feeling after some silliness was going on King's Row?
Yeah, some of that we don't talk about. Piercing
No,
was
no,
lagging.
no.
They're good though. We're all happy about it. We can't. We're very excited for the next game. So.
Oh, I'm sure. And listen, I'm gonna give the floor to Mega because I know she has a lot of questions for you guys. So take the floor. I need them to be answered.
Here, you know what? How about we go this? So like here, you know, no. We won't make it all silly. We'll start with our silly though. Clearly the composition y'all had on Kings Row, that's been like practice, right? You clearly scrimmed that a lot. Like everybody, you know, knows their roles and how it works, the ins and outs, right? That's totally what happened there.
Most definitely, yes.
That wasn't just people clicking heroes that they wanted to because they were like, we're up 2-0 right now. Let's see what we can do.
No, actually, in scrims, Piercing pretty much does scrim the Reinhardt every time. It's some of them I don't know what they were doing, but like Piercing and our backline were pretty much what we always scrim on that map. Nonag, he's like, we call him like Nonag Father of Four whenever he's playing for us. So he just picks what he has to carry. So, yeah.
Hey, listen, at the end of the day, you know, if it's actually got some practice in, that's very, very interesting here. But RRG Varsity, they've had an interesting story this season around, and now, you know, you're sitting in winners finals, feels pretty here, but your next opponent, one that you've faced before, you have won against them, you've also lost against them. Big T-Tar fan at 600. How's the team feeling? Are you excited for the matchup? You know, they've got a lot of legacy, obviously, here in the GM tier. What's the feeling? What's the vibe?
We're looking forward to it. We think we can take it to them, if not beat them. We're feeling good about it, so just hoping that we can keep momentum going.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think you could. I think you guys played great today. You know, even even with all that, even what happened, even Rosapi was a little bit silly. No Nag decided to go to the soldier, and then eventually was like, you know what, it's not working anymore. I got booked off the stage. Like it's over. So I do want to see you guys go over and give big T-Tar a run for their money, because they also 3-0'd their opponent today, University of Toronto Academy Blues. So you guys both coming into winners finals with these nice, good 3-0 records under your belt in the playoffs. Is there anything you're expecting? I'm sorry. Is there anything that we should expect to see from you guys, or is it going to be kind of the same thing we saw today? Some silliness, some good calm, some good brawl, Ryan gameplay with Junkrat. Anything we got to be tuned out for, looking out for?
Well, I know they're watching it, so I guess I don't really want to say too much, but I guess we'll go where the maps take us.
Ooh, I like that. Well, listen, I'm gonna leave you with this last question, and you can head out, enjoy your victory. So I'm gonna ask you, who do you want to give a shout out to on the broadcast?
Honestly, No Nag, father of four. If it wasn't for him, we probably wouldn't win anything.
Wonderful. You heard that from here. No Nag, we love you around these parts and all your silliness. I'll let you go. Go celebrate your victory. Go prep for that return of the big T-Tar Fan 600 team. And hopefully, keep the history going. Beat them once, why not do it again? Ideally, right? So go ahead.
Yep.
I'll let you go. Tell the team we say congratulations for their amazing 3-0 victory against Unknown Origin. And we'll see you guys next time.
Alright, thank you.
No problem. Have a good one.
You too.
Well, that's it, Megalast. That's the last match of the night. It was everything I could have wanted and more.
Yeah, it's always fun to have these little matches. We're going to throw the schedule up one more time in case you're living under a rock, you don't know what happened. Had a lot of NAGM action this evening. Like we said, big T-Tar Fan earlier on the main stream, taking down University of Toronto Academy Blue. I would love these teams to get shorter names, like the other match that we just went through, RRG Varsity versus Unknown Origin, also at 3-0, and that also sets the stage for the bracket, right? Big T-Tar Fan, RRG Varsity going up against each other again, and likewise for Unknown Origin and Toronto Academy Blue. So whenever those games come up, it will be a fun time. But like you said, Mott, that's pretty much it. That's all we had to do.
Absolutely. Go and tune in next week for the rest of these matches. They should be coming at you guys soon on CGL 1, 2, and possibly 3. There is EU, there's NA, there's SA, as well as everything going on over here with CGL. Season 15 is coming to a close. It's been a long 8 weeks and some change. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right. Well, not be back. We'll be back later with some more of that action. But otherwise, that's all for tonight. We'll see you guys when these guys schedule their matches and report their scores. See you guys later.